Do you see dating as a chore or a burden in your life? Something filled with frustration and rejection? Maybe you've been out in the dating pool for a long time. Maybe you've been in a long term relationship and you're just jumping back into dating. Maybe you're someone who never had the opportunity to do much dating before. Whatever life stage you're in, it's common to feel overwhelmed by dating, and many people even feel wounded by past dating experiences. So today we're going to ask, does it have to be that way? What if dating is a chance to heal? That it's a chance to grow? That it's a tremendous opportunity. Welcome to the Ari and Samantha show. That's the best title we've got for now.
Welcome.
So I'm Ari Graff. My co-host is Samantha Berkey, not
Nice to
Berkey's.
meet you. Yes,
We've
thanks
been
for
the
having me.
we've been the nice guy and the good girl in life, just passively letting our lives drag us along. Now we're committed to living our lives consciously, taking radical responsibility for ourselves and our relationships, and always growing and expanding. So, Samantha, tell me about your old view of dating and and what shaped that? Was it your parents, the culture,
Man,
TV?
yeah. So I would say I don't really think I had like a view of dating. I mean, I met my partner when I was in high school. That was my first dating experience, and
Hmm.
um, I think I had felt very neglected in childhood, and so I was like just craving acceptance and love, and to be wanted and to be claimed, and so I had experienced
This is your very first dating experience. You
the
hadn't,
first dating experience. Yeah, think I was 18 years old at the time, um, and just looking for love and acceptance in all the wrong places, you know, and needing more so to be accepted than to actually be loved. I think was the main thing because that was what I didn't receive in childhood, and so I would allow for treatment that was not good for me, that didn't feel good to my body, that didn't feel I had constant inner conflict in my mind, and would keep people far past their expiration. And I, was with my partner for 7 years, all the way into my mid 20s, and then repeated the same cycle over again with someone else for 9 years.
and your first partner is the one you had your son with? So,
Yes, the first partner was the one I had my son with. Um, we were together for 7 years. I had my son when we were together for 3 years. But I never felt safe. I never felt protected. I never felt loved. I never felt cared for. I felt like I was constantly just staying under the radar, just trying not to ruffle any feathers, trying not to cause any problems, to not be abandoned or left behind. And so I didn't really start dating because I just like accepted like whoever like first came and like showed interest. It's like, okay, we're in a relationship now, and stayed in a relationship for a really long time. So my real dating experience didn't start until my last relationship ended almost 6 years ago now. And it has been like such a ride,
so
this,
just to stop you, so
yeah,
you would you say you were dating unconsciously?
totally.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's how you started, and that's because you didn't give yourself opportunity to date after that first relationship. Basically, you were in your 30s before you actually got to date much at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I was probably like 30, yeah, 35 years old when I started actually dating, actually understanding, okay, what are my needs? What is important to me? What are the character traits that are important to me? And what does it feel like in my body when I'm with someone that's in alignment with those character traits versus when I'm with someone who's not, and getting really clear about that. And so, yeah, it was all unconscious. I would say majority of my life for the first 35 years of my life was unconscious.
So I think this is one of the points that it's worth making today. You can become a conscious dater at any point in your life, you know, even at your advanced age.
Oh, thank you. Better late than never, right?
Right.
Yeah. And, I don't see any of that as a waste of time. Like, I built up so much pain. There was a lot of like suffering in that inner conflict. There was a lot of discomfort. And there is value in all of that experience too. And there's so much clarity that comes when you are coming from the depths of that discomfort and getting really clear about what you do want. And so once I was released and I was free, and the thing that I was afraid of most, which was abandonment, once that happened and we separated, now I'm like totally crystal clear and understanding what I will and won't tolerate. It's a new level of understanding. So all of that was very valuable. It was valuable lessons. I didn't have to drag it out that long, but that was what I chose.
So abandonment is something that you've worked to heal through the dating process.
Yeah, yes. And I would say learning how not to abandon myself. That was the biggest thing, that I was afraid of being abandoned by someone else, and in the process, constantly abandoning myself for that person not to abandon me.
That's deep. Don't
Yeah.
abandon yourself. I'll just say, for myself, I wasn't a conscious dater either. I mean, some of my earliest beliefs about dating, just as a teenager, was like nobody would ever want to date me. Like no girl will ever be attracted to me or want to kiss me. Um, so I was starting out in a place of scarcity uh, with girls. Um, so it felt like a miracle when girls started to be interested in me. And then it was interesting because something kind of flipped once I got into a relationship with a girl. Like in my teenage years, I would feel overwhelmed fairly quickly by their needs, for attention, for conversation, for time, and felt like my needs just got lost.
Yeah.
Um, so that was something that I just struggled with for years, was just feeling kind of engulfed in a relationship, and that I would lose myself. And that was part of what made it hard for me to commit and get married. I felt like marriage was the end, sort of the final nail in the coffin of me getting my needs met. It sounds bad saying that. It's definitely not a good way to go into to marriage.
I mean, I
Um,
think that's common though. I think that's a common thing, right? I mean, I immediately, as you're sharing this, I'm thinking of David Data is the way of the superior man, and how men want freedom and women want, that love and connection and that deep intimacy. But it's like, how do you marry the two? Like, both can happen together and simultaneously. Well, I'm curious, like, knowing what you know now, like, how would you have navigated those feelings differently?
yeah. Well, I think you're bringing up a good point about the difference between men and women, or we call them masculine, feminine energy people. Um, that there's a tension between the masculine, which wants freedom, and the feminine that wants intimacy and connection. Even though everyone has some of both,
Yeah.
um, but that can be a tension in a relationship. that the two people have to figure out. But for me, one of the most healing things as part of like recovering from being a nice guy is just realizing, like, for one, what I actually do want and need, and really validating that in myself,
Yeah.
because I think there was just a tendency to let the woman's wants and needs kind of overtake me, and not know how to balance that out, and not know how to ask for what I wanted, or just lead into what I wanted. So that's been really helpful for me. I think another thing that I've been learning through dating again is just that I can decide how quickly that I want to get into a relationship with someone, or how slowly. That I can take my time. And I think one of the mistakes that I used to make was just jumping into a relationship with someone, or jumping into bed with someone. And so that's a good way to feel overwhelmed, because you accelerate into a relationship before you're ready. That's
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's a choice that people make, and many people make that choice all the time. They're doing it unconsciously, um, but you don't have to do that. So you can enter into a relationship slowly if you want. I mean, consciously, and take the time to get to know somebody, and that will actually feel more comfortable. And also, like, I'll say one last thing is just like knowing that I can always end it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I yeah, I appreciate everything that you're sharing about that. And I know what you're talking about, that like feeling of needing to like commit right away. I'm actually having this experience right now where somebody is um, seemingly like afraid of commitment and thinking that that is like what I'm needing, you know?
Hmm.
And when in reality, what I'm really wanting is connection. I just want like connection and intimacy, and to like be talking and connecting with each other. But I
So
can
you're
sense,
not needing to label it,
yeah,
or
it's like the other person's perception and what that means to them that creates fear in them, and then they try to resist and like create distance, right?
hmm
Um, And I feel that in my body too. Like I feel that, and I'm like, okay, I know what that is. I recognize that. But I also have my desires and my heart's yearning and what's important to me, and be having someone show interest in me or send a text message saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about you." And like these little things are important, and I don't want to make it like an expectation, but um, it is something that like makes me feel important, or like this person actually cares and is thinking about me. I
yeah.
don't know how we got off on this topic. I didn't mean to go real time. Um,
No,
but
this
yeah,
this this is helpful. I mean, this is part of the dating process.
yeah,
I guess the dating and relationship processes overlap,
yeah,
but how we date is influenced by um, what we think it's going to lead to. So I think it's one of the issues for a lot of people is that they go into a date or a few dates with so many preconceptions about what it has to be. They're not going into it with a fresh mind.
yeah. We were talking about that a little bit before, and like what the dating profiles look like. And you can really like see people's wounded previous experiences in the profiles.
Right? People basically are advertising their wounds. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What are you seeing in men's profiles?
Yeah. So a common one that I see a lot that automatically I swipe left on, and I think this is useful for men to know. I don't know if other women do this too, but it's definitely for me. If I read this exact message, it's immediate swipe left. They say, um, "Not interested in being pen pals. Let's meet for a drink." That's like a very common tagline. I read it all of the time. It's like one of the first sentences. And to me, when I read that, the story I create in my mind is that this person has experienced that over and over again. And they have this story created in their mind that um, women are not, they're kind of just like dragging them along and not really, wanting to connect or meet with them.
Hmm.
But from the woman's perspective, like from my perspective, if I signed up for Bumble again less than a week ago, and I have over 4,000 people interested in connecting with me.
Oh my
Okay,
God, 4,000
so
likes.
so if I were to say yes, let's meet for drinks to every single person that tried to connect with me, I would have no life. I would have no life whatsoever. And I'm sure there's other women that are way more attractive than me that have even more to choose from. And it's like, yeah, there is a weeding out process. Like, I want to see, like, how do you take the lead in this conversation? Are you stepping forward? Like, how is your communication style? Like, there's things that I'm looking for before I'm a full body yes to this person. And saying, like, I don't want to be pen pals, let's just get together. It's like, okay, but I have like 3,999 other people that are willing to like to put in the effort to get to know me.
Yeah, I mean, damn. Um, she's a 10. That's what she's
No,
trying to say.
that is not what I'm trying to say. It's just like
If you
the
want a
reality, and
10,
that's what it is for
put in
women,
some
right?
work.
Like, there's more. Women tend to be like more picky and selective in the beginning process, but men ultimately make the final. That's like the bigger decision is right if you're going to like marry them, right? So we get rejected on the back end, but men get rejected on the front end.
That's that's some wisdom right there. Um, Men, just hang in there. You can reject them on the back end.
Yeah.
Just hang in there. You'll get your time.
Well, just like you were just saying that, I could always leave. I can always just, I don't have to stay, right?
Well, women can too. I
True.
mean, people are bad enders, and another thing that you're kind of bringing up is people are bad pickers also. So, if you're dating right now and you get frustrated by a lot of the BS that happens like on dating apps, and on people who are unserious. I mean, I'm on the other side dating women. There's plenty of unserious women on there.
Yeah, what
Uh,
do you see? What's on the profiles? What are some like wounds that you can read and notice right away that like you have resistance
oh
to?
yeah, no pen pals, no hookups. Like that's what they're leading with.
Yeah.
Um, oh, or like the worst is when you don't see this much on Bumble, like cash at me $50. Or,
Yeah, I don't get that.
um, here's another annoying one I find is like, I'm not here much. Find me on Snapchat or on Instagram. Like that, maybe that's a generational thing, but I
Yeah.
find that really annoying. Like, but I guess if you got 5,000 likes, you can ask for that. Um,
I'm sure people do it.
um, what are some other annoying things or things that really bother me? Yeah, I think when people kind of just advertise how wounded they feel.
Hmm.
Um,
What is the
so
story what's the story you create in your mind when you read something like that?
um, that this woman, I mean, I, is probably like mistreated growing up, and that they've got unhealed wounds from their childhood, that they played out with partners in their adult life, and then they're going to expect me or some other man to fix it, to be different, instead of them healing themselves. So for me, that's a hell no. Like
Yeah,
I don't want to. I don't want another person to feel like they've got to heal me, and I don't want to feel like I'm in that role for another person. So that's one of the things that I'm looking for on a profile. Is this person taking responsibility for their own health, mental health, growth? Is growth important? Like these are the things to make a good choice. These are the things to look for if you want to practice conscious dating. Like,
that's why I connected with you,
right.
to
So
be honest.
yeah, we met on Bumble. I don't know. You can tell the story. You'd probably be better at telling the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, we met on Bumble, and I do have like a very selective process. And the same things that you're looking for is what I look for is somebody who clearly like respects and honors themselves. And I think you had mentioned something how you like have this perfect balance between like you didn't use this exact language, but like kicking ass at work and then being a good dad and taking care of your health and all these things, right? And one of the prompts maybe you used was about like how important like while you're in a relationship to still have your own friends and your own interests, right? So I'm like, I'm recognizing, okay, this guy is on the path, right? He's experienced some things and he's learning some things. And language you were using specifically, I can't remember what it was, but I recognized language that reminded me of The Way of the Superior Man, David Data. And I was reading that book at the time. And so I was becoming very clear about what it is that I'm interested in men. Like, what are the character traits? And so I was resonating with a lot of what you were saying. And I think that was my intro message to you. It was like, hey, this is like giving off David Data vibes. And you said, that's my Bible. And then that started a whole thing, right?
Then she met
Um,
me.
what's that?
I said, then she met me.
Then I met him. Yeah, but we had some like texting and connecting. We were pen pals for a little bit, but not very long. Um, but if I see like a profile and it's just like 6 feet tall and the guy is handsome but has no information, like not a single thing about himself, I'm like, not interested. This guy, in my mind, this is the story I create. I'm not saying this is all guys that are 6 feet tall and attractive and don't write anything, but the story I create is that this person hasn't had to put any effort in. They haven't had to like develop certain skills. They just kind of easily get women. And like, I'm really looking for someone who has some skills, has like the ability to carry a conversation and be vulnerable and these types of things. Um,
That's
yeah,
right. That's a good point. That's another thing that bothers me. So many people who put low effort into their profile, or maybe the only effort they put in is their photos. They've
yeah,
got nice looking photos, but they don't answer any of the prompts. They don't do any kind of bio about themselves. It could be for different reasons, but I think
yeah,
you're missing out on an important opportunity to share who you are and express who you are,
yeah.
and
And I think,
and to attract the right people.
yeah, I think too, like a lot of those people just probably don't know. They don't know who they are, or they don't even know. They either don't know or they're afraid to show it. They're hiding. What if I don't get accepted if I share who I really am?
Exactly. So if you want to heal through dating, one of the take home points is that it means you have to really work on becoming a more conscious person. If you want to attract a Samantha,
Or
or
an
an Ari,
Ari.
yeah, you've got to become a conscious person, and really become a high value person in every way that you can. Um,
What does that mean?
what does that mean?
Yeah.
It may have a negative connotation to you. I don't know, but it's. Um, do you have you discovered your purpose? Are you living in your purpose, whether that's in your work life or not? Is that something that you've figured out about yourself, or at least in process with?
Mm.
Do you lead yourself? Do you lead other people? I think that's part of becoming a high value man or just high value person. Um, do you take care of your health? Do you attend to your health, your mental health? Are you conscious about your parenting? Are you conscious about developing the right friendships? The right kind of meaningful friendships. So there's so many aspects of life to become conscious about, and then that's going to become apparent when you're dating.
It sounds like a high value person is someone who values themselves, someone who values themselves enough to take care of themselves in all the ways that you can.
That's right. And it's simple when we're talking about it, but most people aren't living their lives that way. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the coaching life, I think. That's if you're a coach or a therapist or healer, then there's a good chance that that's your whole orientation.
Yeah.
Not that we're always good choices to date, but
Definitely not. We're usually the most fucked up people.
oh,
Excuse
don't
my
say that.
language.
You're ruining
Maybe
it.
you gotta like delete that out. But meaning like usually people who go into therapy or psychology or something, there's a reason why they're super interested in it, right? It's usually like a way to heal ourselves.
That's right, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's not.
You've got to know everybody's got something to heal and to grow. Um, so that's why I think things like depression and anxiety are helpful to some extent. They're not ends into themselves, but they can lead to growth.
Mm.
Um, so we want to listen to why we're suffering. So if you were suffering in your marriage or your long term relationship, there's learning to be had, and that's what we've both done from our relationships.
Yeah, it's useful. It's useful information. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I can feel those feelings, but not like sit in them for days. You know what I mean? I can give myself 17 minutes to feel that and experience it and then like jot down some things. Where are my thoughts at? Oh yeah, when I think this, I feel this, and then I think this and I feel that. And they could be totally conflicting about the same topic, and it's like that's where that inner conflict I'm experiencing is coming from. And when I feel that inner conflict, I want to numb myself and I want to scroll on my phone and I want to eat something sweet and I want to do all the things that keep me separate from what I'm actually trying to create for myself. So the clearer that I can become on where my thoughts are, how that's affecting me emotionally, and then what the things I do when I feel that way, and kind of catching myself sometimes in the thought process, sometimes in the feeling process, being with myself and allowing myself to feel that, and asking myself, what do I need when I feel sad? Okay, I need to like go take a bubble bath and listen to some affirmations instead of doing the behavior, you know? That's a whole nother topic,
It
but
just takes 17 minutes. It's a 17-minute process.
that's my rule.
The reality is she's lying. She has a 2-hour morning routine. I've heard about it.
It's more than 2 hours.
It's more than 2 hours. I knew it. I knew it. I don't even know about her evening routine. If you date Samantha, that's what you're in
That's
for.
still in process. It hasn't been developed yet. I'm still working on that. Look at this.
The morning routine is the main event. You're the sideshow
Yes.
if you date
Yes.
Samantha. What are some other healing experiences you've had through dating, or how else can people heal through dating?
How else do people heal through dating? Well, for me, I would say one of the big ones, this is really going to bother me. One of
The
the big
the the,
ones.
the hair sticking up.
Yeah.
They're all laughing at you right now.
Yeah, I know. Boing. So I would say one of the big ones has been finding my voice. Ever since I was really little, my mom left when I was 4, and I was living with my grandma, and they took me to a therapist for years. All the way through grade school, middle school, and my therapist called me the Rock because they could not get me to speak or say anything. And I would just spend the whole session coloring and playing games, playing Uno, and I would not they couldn't crack me. And I, through the dating experience, have learned a lot of communication skills and getting really clear about what I'm thinking and feeling, and having the courage to actually bring it up in real time, and honoring my experience, respecting it by giving it a voice. And it has been really transformative for me because before I was living in this shell where I wasn't expressing my experience and feeling disrespected by my partners or devalued or like my experience doesn't matter. And now all of a sudden it wasn't that it didn't matter. It was that I didn't think it mattered and I was keeping it inside. Now I know it matters. I express it. And then the people that I'm interacting with respect me so much more. And we actually have challenging conversations. And I'm building this kind of mental toughness and more understanding of myself. And so that has been like a really, I don't want to say that I've been like using men in that way, but in dating, it has been kind of like a testing ground for me. I'll be with someone, they say something, and I feel something, and I'm like, in my head, I'll ask myself, okay, what's going to happen if I say this? And then I say it, and I just see how they respond. And it's been really positive. It's been a really positive experience in that way. Instead of going on to a date and thinking, oh my God, I hope I get chosen. I hope they like me or whatever. It's like, what if I'm just all out me, just totally revealed, totally honest, the real deal, and see what happens? They like it. They really like it. I'm telling you, they like it.
And if they don't,
I've honored myself. And if they don't, then I would be, let's say I stayed hidden, I would be in a relationship with someone where I would have to remain hidden the entire relationship. So it's not worth it. If they like, you want to give people the sovereignty to really choose, okay, this person, I'm a full body no to the real version of this person. Let them go. That's good. Find out early.
so when you're radically authentic with people, you can probably feel, and they accept you. It must feel amazing.
It does. Yeah, it feels true. I think that's like a big piece of it is that it's revealing. The more you reveal yourself and reveal what's true, and even the things that feel scary or like people won't accept about you, usually they do. And it's really just you that doesn't accept that about you. And so you're kind of missing out on this healing opportunity for someone to love on you and accept you for the thing that you don't accept about yourself.
Yes, well put. Um, I wanted to add, with dating, I think an important dating practice is just to take each date as its own thing. That it could still be a valuable experience even if it doesn't lead to a second date. It could be something um, pleasurable in itself, just getting to know someone, having someone show up and show up their best, looking nice for you, being interested in you. You know,
Hey, maybe it will turn into a podcast. You never know.
maybe it'll turn into a podcast. That's the ultimate dating goal. Turn it into a
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. But I revealed a lot to you on that first date. I don't know if you remember, but um, I remember we were playing games and I was whooping on you, and then you asked to play pool. Yeah, I was. I was whooping on you, and then you asked to play pool, and I got really scared. I was like, oh no, I'm going to look horrible. And I was like, I'd rather, what did I say? I'd rather us collaborate than play against each other. And then we played with another couple, and there were a lot of times where I was embarrassed, and I would just tell you, like, I'm feeling shame or I'm feeling really embarrassed, right? Do you remember that? Like, that was me practicing, like, being really, like, revealing about, like, how I'm feeling and what's coming up for me.
And then she paid me $200. No.
Yeah, that's not true.
Um, I don't want I don't want someone who wants me as a therapist for them. That's something that I'm clear about in my
Where did
dating.
that come from? Has that come up for you?
Well, and I wasn't saying that about you.
Yeah,
It's
I'm like, where did that come from?
it's a topic that comes up all the time.
Okay.
Like if it says that I'm a psychologist, it's just like, are you going to analyze me?
Yeah.
Um,
Can you analyze me? Can you diagnose me?
well, I think that's what's behind it.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to reveal uh, what I'm feeling to someone, and what are you going to do with it? I
You
think
like
that
to reveal how you're
no,
feeling?
I think that's what's behind those concerns is that they actually do want that, but aren't sure whether this is a safe place to do it,
Mm,
and maybe they actually need a therapist anyway. So
maybe. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't want to be therapized by my partner. Is that a word? I feel like I've heard that before,
I
therapized.
use that as a word, so
Do
I'll
you?
accept it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, so I have a story. I was interacting with someone who had been pursuing me for like 5 years, and I was not giving them the time of day because I just energetically wasn't feeling it. And now all of a sudden I'm kind of in this space where I'm like, part of my process and what I'm doing right now is not allowing my actions to speak for me. I want to speak for me. So he popped up again on a different mode in a different app. I think actually he messaged me on Facebook, and instead of giving him the cold shoulder like I had for years, I'm in this new lesson where I'm trying to speak up instead of letting the action speak for me. So I was just really, honest with him. And the basically the outcome of the interaction was that I still wasn't interested in this person, but we were able to like have good communication throughout it. And I was able to compliment him and say, "Hey, I've noticed you reaching out to me over the years, and I just want to like let you know that I appreciate your persistence and your effort, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And I know that takes a lot of courage." Um, Simultaneously, I need to honor my body's full body yeses and nos. And right now, energetically, this just feels like a no to me. But you, and because it was sending me photos, so I'm like, but you and your daughter look like really lovely people, and I really thank you for the invitation. Send.
Wow,
The
that's not
response, go ahead.
that's not something you have to do.
No, you don't. But I know that there's like pain on the other side. Like that has to not feel good. If you're reaching out to someone for that long and that many times, there's like there's a need, like to me that feels very hungry. There's like a craving or something that you need, or some type of validation or something.
Hmm.
I don't even know this person. So he definitely has a story about me created in his mind. And I know for me, I know the difference between the energy of need and the energy of like desire. And that was like a very different, it's a very different energy. And being able to honor what my body was experiencing and express that with words so that he knows, instead of like continuing the pursuit, you know?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say you really gave him a gift with that communication because you know we seldom get that kind of response, that kind of conscious response from someone on a dating app or even non-dating app dating. You know, um, that was something that was validating to him that hopefully he can use in some way to to,
Hopefully.
to learn from. But it wasn't something you had to do. You know, I think in the world we're in and the dating app world, it's just easy to just stop communicating. We can always do that, but
Yeah, or even not even communicate at all. How many times do you match with someone and then there's no communication whatsoever?
right. So I mean, your communication skills have grown from getting back into the dating world. So
Absolutely. I mean, I was the rock before. I didn't communicate anything. It was all inside, and it was painful and affecting my life in a lot of different ways, affecting me in my productivity and being able to like just naturally move through life and get things done. Everything's being carried in your head, and so the more you can express, dating has really helped me in that arena.
right. So we've got to wrap up for today. So if you really want to learn, date Samantha.
That's from his experience.
It's
You
from my
learned a lot, right?
experience too. Um, so thanks again for joining us on the Ari and Samantha show. And this was fun. We'll be back soon. And email us or text us something very conscious
Yeah, well, we want
if
to
you
know
want to
your
get in
dating
touch.
questions. Like, what are you curious about when you're in dating? What things do you struggle with? We'd love to help.
We're your dating gurus, among other things. Okay, thanks everybody.
Take care.